Triangle. Duncan Woodford finds out why. For 2 nights every year, the atmosphere around the old Jefferson Theater in Beaumont is strictly Broadway. Russ Murphy will have a look. While the Jefferson Theater might resemble something off Broadway, this production is straight from another street. Dave Wilson and thousands of other kids see Sesame Street live.
Did I learn that?
And a perfect combination, good seafood and a great atmosphere. These stories and more about the people of the Golden Triangle on Channel 4's Weekend Magazine.
Good afternoon. I'm Duncan Woodford.
And I'm Russ Murphy. And this is Weekend Magazine.
We hope you'll join us for the next half hour as we look at the people and the places around the Golden Triangle and Southeast Texas. This afternoon, we'll visit the area's oldest teenager. We'll show you one of the newest restaurants and check some real nice monsters and a 10-foot bird. But first, Russ takes us backstage at the Follies.
Okay, Duncan, what is the Follies and what can you say about it that hasn't been said before? Well, quite a lot, really, because in the 8 years that the Follies has been an annual event in the area, it's received precious little publicity. And that's a shame, really, because it's a charity event sponsored by businesses through the Beaumont Junior Forum, and it's something where everybody involved has a typically Texas high-stepping, rootin' tootin', let it all hang out, heck of a good time.
Curtain call. Opening night of the Follies, February 19th, 1982. The sign out front of the Jefferson Theater is half lit. But that's okay. So are many in the audience. Just kidding. What we're trying to say, I guess, is that everybody has a good time. We call it Follies Fever. Stick around. You're sure to catch it.
Say it's a festive atmosphere here tonight.
Very festive, very festive. That thing is bright in my eyes.
And having spent all our money at the bar, we couldn't afford a program, so we snuck a look at one over a friendly shoulder. And while Milburn Amy was conducting services out front, warming up the audience with a few tunes, Gary Bruce, director of this year's show, was backstage, warming up his cast.
Take a deep breath.
Go down here. Now, shake your head and go, oh! Oh! All right, hands across the way. Take a deep breath. Go, ha! Take another deep breath. Go, ha!
I think your regional theaters, your community theaters, and your collegiate theaters are probably producing a level maybe higher than what New York is doing at this time.
Everybody at home right now is saying, oh, quit asking about all that stuff and ask him what he thinks of Beaumont, Port Arthur, and Orange, and all these people that are working here from Coons and Silsby and all over the place here.
Well, I tell you this, these people know how to have a good time. I've been very surprised by the talent that I've had to work with. When you come to this size area, you don't necessarily anticipate it. And what we have had in this show has been amazing and astounding to me. We've got some great dancers, some really good singers. These people are giving of their time freely. They don't expect maybe as much sometimes, but they give out probably more than a professional does in certain professional situations. And I'm talking about summer theater, summer stock productions where the performer feels sort of obligated to go out there and do, and get by. In this production, these people do not want to go on stage and be embarrassed, and so thus they give me 150%. As far as the fellowship that I have developed with these people, it's been one of the top out of my 82 shows that I've done.
Really?
That's right. I really mean it.
Let's hear it for us.
I love it here. You know, if I didn't have to work all the time, I would have to say I'd come back here.
Meanwhile, backstage.
I hope I didn't forget anything.
What's your name?
Danny Babineau.
Where are you from?
From Vider.
Say it's going okay.
Oh, yeah, we're really having a great time. It's a lot of fun.
You want us to get out of your way, I guess.
No, it's all right.
Who are you really? My name is Steve Hunt.
What's this on your shirt here? Good Luck Horseshoe there?
Yeah, this is a horseshoe that's 70 years old. Sent it to me by my uncle.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Fred, you're not supposed to say good luck, so I'll say break a leg.
I'll do that. Not literally, though.
I hope I didn't forget anything.
And as we take one last look at this year's Follies curtain call, all we can say is, if you missed it this year, next year, don't.
All those folks you saw at the end there are the famed Bows and Bells, and they've taken part in every Follies show since the beginning. And as anyone connected with the show will tell you, they're really what it's all about.
Next up on Weekend Magazine, KLVI's radio morning personality, Al Caldwell.
There's never been a tiller as easy to handle as the Aaron's Rocket. Its engine is front-mounted for superb balance. With its power-driven wheels, fingertip controls, and swing handlebars, tilling and cultivating are literally one-hand operations. And the 7-horsepower engine gives it the power to take on the toughest tilling jobs. See the Rocket at your Aaron's dealer. It could be a very profitable visit.
Select your Aaron's Rocket Tiller from Four-Ray Supply, 3527 Nederland Avenue in Nederland.
Southwest Championship Wrestling here in Beaumont Civic Center on Sunday, March the 14th, 8:30 starting time. Main event tag team action. This combination of the Grappler and Sweet Dan going against Dick Slater, Manny Fernandez. You'll see Ken Lucas against Ivan the Terrible Novak. Tully Blanchard will be in town, Hacksaw Duggan, and more. Civic Center, Beaumont, Sunday, March the 14th, 8:30 starting time. The Grappler.
You know, the name of the game in professional wrestling is being a winner. If you people want to get behind a winner, you better get behind these two men right here. But Manny Fernandez, let me tell you something, Dick Slater. Been sticking your nose in our business too long. Now it's come down to a head. You better be ready in Beaumont, Texas, boys, and beat us if you can.
Bob Sweetan.
You know something? Manny Fernandez stuck his nose in there. He came in there to help Slater because Slater was getting his butt whipped. And that's why the Grappler came in to make it even. Now it's even, it's 2 against 2, and we're still going to kick some butts, especially yours, Slater, and you too there, little Mexican jumping beat.
Here at Nallymore, we believe we can beat any other Buick or GMC deal by $300 to $500. Why? Well, first, we're in a small town where property values don't eat you up. Our facilities aren't the fanciest, and our salespeople are salaried. So you see, it doesn't take as much profit for us to make a profit. Regals, Centuries, LeSabres, Rivieras, Limiteds, GMC trucks from little to big. Remember, $300 to $500 less, and we can sell you a new car for $64.50 at Nallymore, the Good Deal store in Silsbee.
Every morning on KLVI Radio, Al Caldwell brings his shining personality to listeners as they're getting ready for work. It's a job he takes seriously until he gets behind the microphone. Then the full force of that personality comes through. At times, listeners hate him and love him and just about everything in between. Recently, I had a chance to watch Al one morning as he did his 4 hours on the air. It was quite an experience.
Nice ending, huh? From 56 AM KLVI Beaumont, it is now 6 o'clock. Time for news with Jack Piper. A big story this morning, Jack, I guess from South Park. At 6 o'clock, we lose all of our credibility.
Nothing could be more true for Al Caldwell. From 6 o'clock until 10 o'clock, he lets it all hang out.
I was really digging the news this morning. I was. I think that's one of the best newscasts I've ever heard. Oh, KLVI. Hey, Mom, what's going on? Is Mom digging the news? Are you digging? Tell Piper to shut up. Yeah, Ma. We'll check you later, okay?
This is Telly Savalas.
Even though he's been doing a morning show for 19 years here in Beaumont, Al never gets used to getting up so early. In fact, he has the station call him twice just to make sure he's up. But it's easy once he gets to the studio. He can be himself.
No, I bought this secondhand. I bought... No, she's just a secondhand. Boy, she sure is secondhand, I'll tell you that. No.
Newsman Jack Piper and weatherman Bob French play right along with Al.
The funniest stuff that we do is not on the air. The funniest stuff we do never gets on the air. We have a circus here in the morning. I'll get down on my knees and walk into the newsroom during a newscast and tap Jack on the shoulder and say, "Hi, I'm Mickey Rooney."
This particular morning, sportsman Dave Hofferth was sick, so Al had to fill in.
KLVI, 9 minutes away from 7 o'clock. And in sports last night, well, there were no sports because I lost it. No, I've got it right here, ladies and gentlemen. I just lost my lead sheet. Here we go in college basketball. That's a big part of my life, sports. I really enjoy sports, always have. Basketball, football, baseball. I enjoy it all. Watch it all on TV. Love to participate from the broadcast standpoint. That's my greatest thrill. KLVI. Hey, we want to say hi to all the Australians out there this morning.
The Australians?
Yeah.
What have they done to us lately?
Well, they haven't done anything to us, but you never hear anything about them at all, and it makes me mad.
Well, it's those big sharks offshore.
Well, maybe they're doing something undercover.
Oh,
I don't trust the Australians.
Al often makes off-the-wall comments, but that's what he thinks radio is all about.
Radio is not just a game of time and temperature and music. People who really listen to the radio and not listen at it, they like personality. They like to laugh, they like to be informed, they like to know that there's somebody that they can identify with, that can talk about situations that happen to them every day.
Of course, that means admitting your mistakes.
This is 56 KLVI, a Gulf Coast tradition since 1924.
Whoa, what is this, you know? We're doing a big production this morning, and you come up with this thing on the wrong speed? Now, come on, let's do this thing right, will you?
Al Caldwell has been accused of having a rather big ego.
You think you have a big ego?
They're local businessmen.
No, I really, in fact, I'll tell you, I worry about that. I don't want, and I mean this sincerely, I don't want anybody ever to think anything of me as other than the way I am on the air, because I like being that. It's not a plastic self. I mean, that's really me on the air. But I put on my pants in the morning the same way that everybody else does, and I don't think I'm any better or any worse than anybody else. I don't have a problem with ego, although I would imagine that 90% of the people that have ever heard me probably think that I have a tremendous ego. I really don't. Thank you much. 8:24 at KLVI now. And ladies and gentlemen, we now enter the dignified portion of our program for this Friday morning. Something very apropos, a romantic love ballad. Sung by one of the nation's leading baritone singers. A great, great love song. Maestro, are we ready, please?
She was sitting on a stool at a dingy little bar called the Broken Bottle. When I walked over and said, "Hi," and introduced myself.
Al sang that record, But he needs no introduction to the recording industry.
See, I was with a group called Gene Vincent and the Blue Caps. We had a million-seller called Bebop-A-Lula. And we did Sullivan's Show, and we did a movie called The Girl Can't Help It, with Fats Domino and Jerry Lee Lewis and Little Richard, and Jane Mansfield was the star of the movie. 56 a.m. KLVI. Hello there, 12 minutes after 9 o'clock now with Al Caldwell. This is the downhill slide portion of our Friday show.
By this time in the morning, Caldwell is alone in the studio. Piper and French are on tape. But in the rest of the building, it's a different story.
Hey, Bird. What's going on? Finally come in here and there's some coffee made. Can't believe that. I used to drink it black, but it gave me a headache, almost like a hangover when I got off the air. So about 2 years ago, I started putting a little cream and sugar in. And I don't have a headache anymore. I just stay nervous all day long, like this.
Staying nervous might explain one curious habit.
I can't work with anything in my pockets, though. To take off my watch, take my billfold out, I have to take everything out of my pocket. I just have to feel really loose in the morning.
Al is 46 years old, not bad, and he says he wants to do another 10 years on KLVI. After that, maybe consulting with the company, but that's a little bit down the road. Right now, he's just happy talking to us every morning on the radio.
And you can tell it. Right after this, Big Bird and the Cookie Monster come to the Triangle.
And a good place to eat, under the rainbow.
If you love music, and lots of it, then you'll love our 50-song, 5-album Super Hit Collection. You can have dance songs. Cause don't forget who's taking you home and in whose arms you're gonna be. So darling, save the last dance for me. Love songs. Keep his mind on nothing, yeah. Lonely songs. Don't they know it's the end of the world? It ended when I lost your love. Just when you needed it the most, Cindy Lou will send you all 50 super hits on 5 LPs, 5 8-tracks, or 5 cassettes, all for just $19.95. Nothing like the sound of a good old rock and roll lullaby. Down in the now you can have the music you've always wanted and start your own music library with not 1, not 2, but 5 super hit albums. Please specify whether you want your 50 songs on 5 LPs, 5 8-tracks, or 5 cassettes. You know you've been alone before. You know that you can do it. Stand by to order.
To order, call toll-free 1-800-251-4040. That's 1-800-251-4040. Or save COD charge by sending $19.95 for records or tapes to Super Hits, Box 8580, Nashville, Tennessee, 37207. That's Super Hits, Box 8580, Nashville, Tennessee, 37207. Visa or MasterCard accepted.
Ask any kid who Ernie or Grover is, and they'll probably know. Not only that, they'll tell you where they live.
Well, this kid knows. They live on Sesame Street, and characters like Ernie and Grover have been teaching our kids how to count and spell for several years now.
It's no wonder that when all those characters go on the road, kids flock to see them.
And so did Weekend Magazine producer Dave Wilson.
When the weather is cold and rainy, there's nothing like staying at home. But if those lovable Sesame Street characters are in town, there's no way the kids will let you do that. So it's off to the Beaumont Civic Center and Sesame Street Live. For 4 days, the Sesame Street troupe played the Golden Triangle. Big Bird towered over the rest of the furry cast. None of these fellows were strangers to this crowd. These kids know Ernie and Grover and Oscar as well as they know their playmates. So when the ugliest and the meanest monsters you've ever seen hit the stage, you can bet nobody heads for the exits.
We are monsters, ugly, sweet, we're the lovable monsters of Sesame Street.
These Muppets have characters similar to all of us. They have the good points, and they've got some of the bad. One of the worst we can all identify with at times. Here's a hint. He's green, lives in a garbage can, and is always in a bad mood. Well, if you don't know it by now, you must not be a kid, don't have any kids, and you never were one.
Gotcha! Oh, no! I came all the way from Sesame Street to this cow town to get away from that 2-ton turkey.
Oh, Oscar, I just knew you'd do something in my show.
You gotta be kidding. I wouldn't be in your variety show for all the trash in Toledo.
Sesame Street Live tours the entire country throughout the year.
And wherever it goes, it plays to packed houses. The characters are as familiar to our kids as we were to Buffalo Bob, Howdy Doody, and Mr. Bluster.
Who?
With all the seafood places in the area, and all of them good, it's really a flip of the coin sometimes to see which one to go to. And lately, seafood lovers have been adding a new place to the list, and we know it because we added it to ours after taking a look at it. And so we thought you might want to do the same thing after taking a look at it, and so here it is right now.
Birds gotta fly, ducks like to swim, and people love to eat. And a whole bunch of them lately have been setting sail for Ely's under the bridge. Recognize that guy walking in now with his back to us? Well, you should if you're a sports fan, but more about him later. Right now, first things first. Getting there is half the fun. Talk about a rustic location. Ely's owners jokingly call this Interstate 11.5. But that's okay, because down this road bounce some of the biggest appetites in the Golden Triangle, according to co-owner J.L. Lee.
We go through about a ton of shrimp a month and half a ton of flounder, and basically about the same thing on red snapper. We do not have anything frozen that is pre-breaded. Everything that we do is by hand. Got it? Yeah. Okay. You know, it's all very fresh. We shell these things right back here in the fish processing house. All of our fish is very, very fresh. All of our crabs, they come right out of the lake from Joe Fallbacher. He's our crab man. He supplies us with every bit of the crabs that we got. They're very, very fresh crabs. It's hard to get seafood in the wintertime, but we seem to have a knack to get these things, like paying twice as much as what they're worth, you see. Whenever it comes in from the shrimp boats into our processing house in the back, it's straight in here into the coolers, and then we bring it in and we pre-bread it.
As we say, Ely's has two owners. You just heard J.L. Lee. The other owner is Donnie Richards.
Okay. Which end of it do you do, Don? You run?
The hard work.
Yeah. This is very true. Donnie built the whole place. He really did. You know, I stayed awake and thought about it at night, and he built it in daytime.
And who was that guy walking in with his back to us? If you guessed Little Joe Washington of the Washington Redskins, correct.
And
we caught him on his way out.
We enjoy coming here now. So I'm sure, you know, when I'm here, you know, I come in maybe twice a month. So I know at least 2 times out of a month I'll be here.
Right. As you know, I just told you, I didn't know that was you sitting there. You know?
Well, that's good.
Not
man.
that I would have acted any differently, you know.
Well, you
but,
know,
I wanted you to know that I did see you fumble the menu.
Fumble the menu? Yeah, that's just as long as it isn't a ball, we're all right.
One last question to close this out, and that is, who is that guy in your menu that looks suspiciously like A.J. Judice?
The man on the menu is himself, A.J. Judice. We serve boudin here at our restaurant. It's one of the things that we felt like the basic Cajuns in Port Arthur would like to have. And AJ is the only person in the world that knows how to fix boudin.
Ely's has a boat dock and a place to fill her up. But whether you go by boat or by car, you'll find things sizzling at Ely's. Anybody hungry?
A.J. Giudice. Now, there's a name with a familiar ring to it, and his name and his face will be even more familiar after next week when we'll have a feature on the crazy Cajun himself right here on Weekend Magazine.
More about next week's magazine in a moment.
Country Ford, Lincoln, and Mercury in Port Arthur has one of the largest selections of used cars in our history, over $1 million worth, and that's too much. Energy Country's got the largest selection of any dealer in our area, from a 75 Mercedes diesel to a customized 79 Cougar XR7 pickup, and everything in between. The time has come to move these units, and we're going to do it regardless of profit. No reasonable offer refused. Come by Energy Country used cars today for the best selection and lowest prices ever.
If you're a working parent, single or married, you need to know about the bigger child care credit available to you for tax year 1982. If you earn $10,000 or less and have 2 children, you may be able to cut $1,440 from your tax bill, or up to $960 if your income is over $28,000. So keep track of expenses. You work hard for your income. Make the most of it at tax time.
For more free tax tips, write P.O. Box 10488, Kansas City, Missouri, 64111.
Some children grow up unable to protect themselves from people they love. Parents, frightened to death of hurting them, desperate and in need of help, many times abuse children themselves. When they cry out for help, someone needs to listen. Family Outreach trains volunteers to work with these parents in their home, providing support to deal with their problems. If child abuse is too painful a problem for you to live with, call 833-9668. We can beat child abuse together.
For the Shriners Burns Institute's Mel Blanc.
Hi. I make many lovable characters talk, but listen to this dangerous burn hazard in your home.
I don't want to burn you, but I have to. I'm too hot.
And in your kitchen...
Don't touch me. I'll burn you. I'm safer when parents turn my handle away.
You want to learn more? Good. We'll send you this free booklet on how to help prevent burn injuries. Send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Shriners, Box 1981, Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay, we just want to thank you all a lot for joining us on this edition of Weekend Magazine. Next week, we'll visit the Crazy Cajun, as we said, and we'll show you some folks who love to get high on their days off, plus much, much more.
If you have an idea for a Weekend Magazine or want information about something you saw here, or just want to comment, write us. The address is Weekend Magazine, Post Office Box 3257, Port Arthur, Texas 77640. We'll be glad to hear from you.
And that's it for our first show. Thanks again for being here, and we do hope to see you again next week.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Au revoir.
So everyone on your mark, get ready, get set to go. Two big birds, super spectacular.
The Texas Employment Commission is still there when you need it. For Texas-sized help, call the Texas Employment Commission.
To promote good living, the best of food. I think we have food that everybody would like to follow our secrets, maybe the seasoning and maybe the simplicity of it. But everything we cook, it sticks to your rib, Dave. Like, say, when you eat one of our, say, a piece of boudin, and we look at a man, and we usually give him so many inches for the size, man. You probably about a 8 to 9 inch man, say, and you'd eat 8 to 9 inches, and it would stick to your ribs where you wouldn't get hungry for 8 to 10 hours.
A.J. Giudice, the man under the beret, and the secrets of that good Cajun cooking.
Believe it or not,
Speed Hopper is a very small plane.
The latest craze takes to the air. Lots of oil being canned in Nederland. These stories and much more next on Channel 4's Weekend Magazine.